I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2020 Ware County Football Award Ceremony, and just obviously want to say thank you to a few people as we get started. Number one, our Touchdown Club president, John Hefford, and everybody that is involved with our Touchdown Club. We're extremely thankful for everything that you guys do behind the scenes. We know there's a lot of work that goes into moving this entire program in the direction that we're wanting to go, and our Touchdown Club has been incredible in supporting us with that. And Mr. D. Meadows and our entire board staff have been incredibly supportive since we've arrived, and I can't say thank you to our Board of Education enough. There's a huge undertaking when it comes to really feeding this mass that we've got. And there's about 150 football players that are in our 9 through 12 program, and we're looking to try to grow that number, but we also realize that is a huge undertaking. We want to sit down and have a meal, and our Ware County High School cafeteria staff has really helped us out with breakfast. YMCA has done an incredible job with a lot of our post-practice meals and our pregame meals. I'd like to just give a shout out to Zion Hill Church, New Life, Central Baptist, First Baptist, Second Baptist, First United Methodist, Crossview, Destination, Trinity, Swift Memorial, and Jamestown. These churches have all been just incredible in helping with everything and all the changes with obviously COVID and the guidelines and regulations that we had to go under. They have not missed a beat in trying to help our program and our young men continue the things that we need them to do. And then all of a sudden we start getting this big old group of players and coaches and everybody that's involved on a road game, and you start looking at the travel that it takes. Joe Meadows and our entire transportation department has just been unbelievably first class, as good as anywhere as I've ever been, of being able to communicate every detail of what we're trying to do when we go on the road. And SDG trailers with our equipment trailer has come out several times and helped us with any type of issues that we've had. We've got an incredible medical staff that helps us, and give a big shout out to Dr. Stephen Hutchinson, but also to our own Miss Jen Roberts, and making sure that not just our school system knows, but our entire community knows and understands that we wouldn't have had football season this year at Ware County without Jen Roberts. She put together a plan for us to return back from COVID, and she held our feet to the fire to make sure we executed the plan. And it was her major goal to watch these young men play football and have a terrific year. And we've got to give a huge amount of credit to what she was able to do to get us back out there. We've got an unbelievable coaching staff, and I'm not going to go through all their names tonight, but you'll see a lot of them. But I can't say thank you to this staff and what they mean to me personally enough. And I've known several of these guys for a number of years, some of them over just the last 2 years, but this is truly a family organization, and I can't say thank you to what you guys mean to me. And I can go all the way down from our varsity guys to our ninth grade guys to our middle school guys led by Kevin Stevenson and Chad Starlin. And by the way, what a year by those two schools, Waycross Middle and Ware Middle. So the future is bright, and especially with the leadership of Kevin and Chad and what they've been able to do down there for a number of years. One of the things that I think highlights a terrific football Friday night is the atmosphere that gets created in the stands. And one huge element of that is the band. And our band is led by Mr. Andrew Bennett. And, you want to talk about an incredible group of people, and the time and effort that they put in, and recognizing the importance that they play on a Friday night is pretty doggone special. And then I'd like to give a big shout out to our cheerleaders, Miss Heather Thomas and Brianna Dixon, Cindy Thrift and Lisa Thrift, and the job they do. Number one, we got a huge amount of cheerleaders. So being able to kind of pull all that group together in one direction is incredible. but obviously what they contribute to Friday night and the atmosphere of what's being brought is first class, and I can't say thank you enough. Next thing we'd like to do is recognize our seniors. And then we'll go right down the list of naming this incredible group of seniors. Andrew Coe, Brandon Mills, Eli Cade, Jacob Fawn, Jalen Melvin, Jeremy Butler, Jet Justice, Javante Ham, Logan Schubert, Malcolm Craddock, Michael Mincy, Prince Austin, Raiden Kennedy, Rodney Davis, Romello Jenkins, TK Norton, Tyler Nipper, Xavier Huff, Zatwan Kitchens, O'Neal Combs, Orion Robinson, Damian Gant, Dexter Carradine, Jerry Wilkins, and Michael Blue. This group is a truly special group. They've got a region championship to their name. It's the first group of seniors in a while that's been in the quarterfinals and really probably 6 points away from playing in the state championship. And you know what's impressive to me with this group, number one, is the number of them. It's a large senior class, but kind of the things that they've had to go through in their tenure. They've gone through a coaching change and then obviously a worldwide pandemic. And you know, we to kind of go through our summer process took a lot of effort. And you know, obviously we mentioned Miss Jen earlier and what she was able to put together for us to have it. But there was a lot of effort that was put in by this group of young men that was led by this group of seniors with just kind of being able and willing to adapt and change on the fly, really kind of being open to new instruction that, hey, you might get told something this morning, but we may find out new information after lunch, and all of a sudden we've got to make a change of plans or dealing with quarantines, and just kind of the attitude that they had throughout the entire season set the tone for our whole football team. And I can't say thank you enough to this really, really special group of seniors. And I think you guys have shown the work ethic and the attitude to not just be a good high school football player, but to go on and be terrific leaders for Ware County and our community going forward over the next several years. And I know as your head coach, but as our entire coaching staff, seniors, thank you so much for what you gave to this football program and this community. Next up, we'll have Coach Wicker with our weight room awards.
The weight room award is just not about numbers. It's about a attitude and work ethic. And these four individuals have shown this first semester and are still showing it now. Ninth grader, Maleo Rockamore. 10th grader, J.B. Barkley. 11th grader, Jacob Miller. And 12th grader, Javante Ham.
Awesome group of young men right there. Next up, we're going to have Coach Durden present our most improved defensive player, and then Coach Dent will present our most improved offensive player.
Just say a little bit about our defensive player, most improved. He was our strong safety. He had 37 tackles, 5 TFLs, and was a great kid all around in the weight room, on the field, practice, games, wherever it was. I'd like to give this award to Romello Jenkins.
It's my honor to present the offensive most improved player this year. It's a guy that kind of waited his turn, burst on the scene his senior year, We just called him TD there for a while because it seemed like every time he caught the ball, he scored a touchdown. So he came on the scene strong this year, ended up with 429 yards receiving, averaged 22.6 yards every time he touched the ball, and ended with 6 touchdowns. So it's my honor to present this award to Mr. Raiden Kennedy.
Next up, we'll have Coach Smith, who's our head 9th grade coach, present our freshman awards. And what an incredible year you guys had, Coach Smith. Unbelievable job. This is 2 years in a row. Y'all knocked it out of the park. And I know you're going to speak on that a little bit. But Coach Smith with our 9th grade.
All right, first, I was wanting to thank Coach Strick and Miss Jen and all that. As he said earlier, we had a ton of hurdles this year that we had to jump, and the more kids that were around, the higher those hurdles got, the harder it was. So it would have been real easy to take our sub-varsity kids, kind of push them on the back burner. And we didn't do that. They made sure we had everything we needed to be successful and to get to play. And I know that was very important for the kids. And also I want to thank the parents, because this year was harder than any year I've seen as far as us having group changes, but back to the summertime, location changes, all that kind of stuff. And none of these freshmen can drive. So a lot of that's responsibility of them keeping the parents up to date, and then the parents getting them there. So that's a testament to how important football is to these kids and this group of parents, that we didn't have those attendance issues and all that. So we had a great season, pretty tough schedule. We played Richmond Hill, Glenn, Tift, Valdosta, and Coffee. We beat all those teams. And I've told the kids over and over and over, besides being undefeated, the thing that impressed me most with them was how tight some of those games were, and that they finished all of them. It's a testament to a lot of their character. Couldn't have done it without all our kids. It's hard to just pick a few, but we voted on it, and we had 4 kids that have been leaders. They're here every time the door opens. They work their butt off in the weight room, and obviously played great on Thursday afternoons for us. Those 4 kids are Demetrius Baldwin, Charvon Pierre, Charles Johnson, and Jaden Jones.
Another thing that was unique about this group of freshmen is, after their season was completed, the large majority of them wanted to stay out and continue on with our varsity program. And we had a huge number of those guys that on Friday nights were now contributing in, whether it was special teams. And I know Demetrius was wound up starting as a defensive lineman. So I mean, the future of Ware County football is very bright, and it's a direct reflection of our younger programs with Waycross and Ware Middle, but certainly what Coach Smith and his staff are doing on our 9th grade level. Can't say thank you enough. Next up, we'll have Coach Collins presenting our Scout Team Awards.
All right, your Scout Team Award, that's a couple of guys usually we give out 2. That's a couple of guys usually we just don't have a lot of stats on. But what we do have is, as a staff, we can sit down and say, who's the guys that gave us a look during the week for the offense, for the defense, or for the special teams, all of the above. It's guys that come to the weight room. They work hard during the day, trying to get better, all that stuff. They just do everything that's asked of them, go above and beyond. And there's just not a lot of recognition for them, but we're going to recognize Jacob Miller. The other scout team guy for us, he came on as a big-time special teams guy for us as well, was Alex Justice. These 2 guys, like I say, there's just not a whole lot of stats necessarily, but the intrinsics of what they do day in, day out, what they do to prepare us for Friday night, you just can't really put a stat with that. So we want to thank y'all and appreciate all that you've done.
Coach Collins mentioned it, but the other thing that was kind of unique about those guys is they really both became very good special teams players for us as the season went on. Jacob has done that for a couple of years. Alex was a guy on our kickoff team, but is also one of our punt returners, and did a fantastic job for us. all season long there. Next up, we'll have Coach Steverson with our Outstanding Offensive Lineman Award.
The young man who is going to win this Outstanding Offensive Line Award was an incredible player for us here, obviously, but he's a better kid, great leader for the younger guys, great example. We're going to sorely miss him, but appreciate everything he gave our program over the last 4 years and how he was able to really, really impact our football team this year. Our Outstanding Offensive Lineman is Tyler Nipper.
Tyler Nipper is one of those guys that's just kind of the heart and soul of what our football program is about. He's a guy that's going to show up every day and be kind of that model of consistency of what you're wanting. Played injured. We go back to the second-round playoff game with Creekside, and he goes down. All of a sudden, from an offensive standpoint, it becomes true chaos. And, all of a sudden, we get him back kind of late in the third, early fourth, and it was like, all of a sudden now the offense woke back up and we can go play again. And you just what an incredible young man. He comes from an incredible family. Another one of those tremendous seniors that we're certainly going to miss and have to replace. Next up, we'll have Coach Minshew and presenting the Outstanding Defensive Lineman Award.
This next guy played defensive line for us. He showed up at practice every day. He was ready to work. Always showed up in the games. He had 24 and a half tackles, 1 sack. Mr. Mike Ellis.
Next up, we'll have Coach Boyette with Outstanding Linebacker.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to award the Outstanding Linebacker Award this year to a young man that, as a sophomore, really stood up and became a leader of our defense. He finished the year with 87 tackles, 67 solos, 42 assists, 5 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss, and one stat that really stood out, he led our entire defense in extra effort plays. This tells you a lot about this young man. He gives effort at practice in the weight room, but these extra effort plays are plays that a gentleman sell out and they go and make a play that a lot of people would give up on. And he led our defense in these extra effort plays. Our Outstanding Linebacker Award goes to Trey Hargrove.
What's great about those last 2 recipients is both of those guys are back. And just kind of mentioned a little bit something about that sophomore group and the way they are and the type of work ethic they have. As Trey is a 300-pound power cleaner as a sophomore, but J.B. Barkley beat him out. That's the sophomore weight room award guy. So we've got some special young guys coming along and that we are very, very excited about. Next up, we're going to have Coach Varna Dorr presenting the Outstanding Offensive Back.
A long-standing tradition, Ware County history has always been the running back. Sandra Bullock may have said it best in the movie The Blind Side, but just a simple call during the middle of a football game. Either way, running the football has always been a very good option for Ware County. This year's recipient, with 467 yards rushing in 6 games, 15 receptions for 288 yards, second year in a row, this award goes to Cartavius Norton.
And once again, another young man that'll be back with our program next year and that is priming himself for a monster senior year. And I think most people know the kind of the backstory with Cartavius, but for you that do not, on the very first game of the year, Cartavius broke his collarbone. And in my 23 years of doing this, I've never had a young man come back during the season from a broken collarbone. But Cartavius was adamant that he would be back this year. Had surgery, got a plate put in, and never wavered on the fact that he was going to return and play. And sure enough, the night of veterans, he was able to come back to the football program and get back out there on Friday night. Made his presence known on the first play of the game, and continued on and had a heck of a rest of the year. But him as a senior is going to be something special to watch. We are jacked up, excited about what he's going to do next year. Next up, we got Coach Durden with the Outstanding Defensive Back.
Just talk about a little bit about this guy right here. He is absolute leader in our secondary. Played free safety for us. He had 91 and a half tackles, 77 which were solo, 3 TFLs, and 2 interceptions. This year's outstanding defensive back is Jeremy Butler.
Jeremy's one of the many multiple sport guys we've got in our football program. He's, beyond a great football player, he's an unbelievable wrestler as well. But he's one of those guys who you throw out the stats that coach just threw out, and then you see Jeremy physically, you don't think the two match. And one of the things that I've always found extremely special about him is he can't be the football player he is at his size without playing with the passion and the energy, the emotion, the physicality, all those things that he plays with on every single play. And, we talk about leaving it all out on the field. He is a young man that after every game, he has nothing left. It's all out there. And you talk about a cat that we're going to miss next year. What an unbelievable football player for Ware County High School. Extremely, extremely thankful that we had a chance to coach this young man. Next up, we got Coach Swain with the Outstanding Receiver Award.
This year was much tougher to come up with this award because we had 8 or 9 guys that contributed a good bit at this position. This guy, he came out his freshman year, he played a little bit, and then ended up coming back to us his junior year and having a decent JV season. This year we didn't know where he was going to fit in. We tried to fit him in a couple positions. We got to the summer when we finally got back, and he just had an unbelievable summer. He played at the Z position for us at the beginning of the season and ended up moving to X for us to get him isolated out there against some corners by himself. He ended up leading the team in yards this year and 3rd in touchdowns. And our best receiver for this year is Jerry Wilkins.
Coach Wayne's right. That's one of the things that's pretty unique about this group we had this year. Is there were just several guys that could have fell into this role, and Jerry certainly had a special season. But really, that whole group, that whole receiving core, had a special season, and we're going to be leaning heavily on them again next year. Next up, we got Coach Boyette with the Special Teams Awards.
This year we had 2 winners of the Special Teams Award. This is another hard award to come up with. We have so many guys that contribute to special teams that also play offense and defense. Our first award winner was really a weapon for us as a football program. He wound up being a Max Prep All-American for the entire United States, which is a huge award in itself. He finished the season with 78 kickoffs. 66 of those were touchbacks. That is a tremendous weapon for us from a defensive standpoint to make sure that opposing offense is backed up. That's just a huge weapon. He had 28 punts for 1,266 yards. He had 45 yards per punt and a long of 65. That is another weapon that we know we can flip the field every time he goes out and punts that ball. Scoring, he was responsible for 82 points this year out of PAT field goals, and he had a long field goal of 45 yards. We're excited that he's a junior, and we get him back for another year. Henry Bates. Our next Special Teams Award winner, when you look back on the film, you start to realize he's on every special teams unit we have besides PAT field goal. He led our special teams in tackles. Every play, every week we give dog tags out for special teams, big special teams plays. And besides Henry, he had the most dog tags. Tremendous special teams player for us is Atwan Kitchens.
Can't say enough about both of those young men. Atwan found a role on our football team and became an absolute superstar in his role. He understood it and was fantastic at it. And then Coach Wicker just told me too. So it's like we always forget Henry's coming back next year, so we get that weapon back. It's pretty special for us to get a Max Preps All-American back. And he said it perfect when he said he's a weapon. There's no question about it. Next up, this is kind of the one true award that the coaches solely vote on. It's not a deal where we kind of let players' involvement or anything of this sort. These are guys that we look down as a coaching staff and say, hey, we don't have a chance on Friday night if these guys don't get on the bus with us. And it may not be that they are a huge stat guy or those sorts of things, but it's got a lot to do with their leadership, the way they practice every day, and the way they hold themselves accountable among all their peers and teammates. And the first one of those guys may be as special as anybody, because if you look at him, there's really probably no reason he should be on the field. But what he does, and I've said it now, this is the second year, is he doesn't give you any other option except playing. And because of his work ethic and his character and the way he presents himself. But that first guy is Javonte Ham. The next guy is one of those guys at the receiver position that probably has got the best hands on our team. Unbelievable route runner. But, I mean, there again, you look at him and you think, there's a lot of reasons why he may not should be on the field. But once you go out and watch him play, watch him compete, he's probably our best blocker at the receiver position this year. Completely unselfish, Mr. James Daniel. Next up, we got a guy that went through just a lot of adversity. He was quarantined. He was kind of preseason, one of those guys that was picked to, really, really play well. Had some tough times during the season, but just kind of showed up every day at practice with the mentality of, hey, I'm just going to get a little bit better than I was yesterday. And by the time we were able to get to region play and get into the playoffs, he was playing at a very, very high level. This young man is Mr. T.K. Norton. And then our last guy is once again a receiver, but maybe one of the most competitive kids that I've been around. And when you start talking about our stuff at 707 against our defense and how passionate he would want to compete, and another great blocker for us out on the perimeter, another really good route runner, and just smart football player, understanding space and where to fit in. Did a great job helping coach our younger guys at practice. But this guy's Mr. Jalen Melvin. Appreciate all four of those guys tremendously. Our next award is what we call the Iron Man Award. And for our definition of this, it is guys that kind of fit in the mold of they play either several positions, play multiple sides of the football, or they played an extended part of the season with a serious injury. And the first guy that we're going to talk about played about every position on offense except center, I think. But he's a guy that was right up there in leading us in receptions. He played running back for us when we had some injuries. He was on special teams for us. Just a ton of things that this young man contributed to us really over the last 2 years, but certainly this year, Mr. Brandon Mills. Iron Man. The next guy's really played the last 2 years with a banged up shoulder, torn labrum. One of those guys that came to us last year, this year turned himself into really one of our best defensive football players all the way around. But he did it all with a shoulder that was going to come out of place about every other play. And it was one of those deals. You knew it was going to happen. He did as well, but it never slowed him down. It never made him play at a different pace. But Mr. Dexter Carradine is a true Iron Man. Iron Man. And then our last guy we knew really played probably the last half of the season with a hamstring issue. But we didn't know really the seriousness of the hamstring until after the season when he got another MRI done. And then we found out that he'd been playing all that time with a torn hamstring. But it was it was just kind of one of those deals where with his leadership, his ability to make defensive calls, we needed him out there, and he wanted to be out there. He was passionate about it, and kind of took every week of what's it going to take to be able to get him out on the grass on Friday night, and that's what we did, along with the work of Miss Jen Roberts. But, man, you want to talk about Iron Man, Rodney Davis playing with a torn hamstring. Iron Man. Next up, we'll have Coach Breeden with our offensive MVP.
Our offensive MVP this year is a guy who, no doubt, is one of the most exciting and just amazing players to watch on the field, not only in our games, but probably throughout the state of Georgia. He had over 2,881 pass yards, 939 rushing yards for a combined 3,820 total yards, and he also had a combined 47 touchdowns on the year. The 2020 offensive MVP is Mr. Thomas Castellanos.
Thomas is one of those guys that's played so much football here at Ware County that, a lot of times I think from a community standpoint, we forget he's coming back also. And we're certainly thankful that we get number 12 back out on the grass, and he's starting to get the recognition that he deserves from the college ranks. But one of the best football players in our state. Next up, we've got Coach Winston with our defensive MVP.
This year's 2020 defensive MVP is one of the best football players I've ever gotten to coach in my 15 years. He led us in overall defensive production. He had 88 total tackles, 63 solo, 50 assists, 3 sacks, and 11 tackles for loss. This year's defensive MVP, Michael Mincy.
It's another one of our terrific young men that's doing it great on the practice field and the game field, but also in the academic area. He's going at Vanderbilt to extend his playing career, and we all know what type of academic institution Vanderbilt is. So very, very proud of Michael Mincy and what he has set himself up future-wise with the opportunity that he's gotten himself. So congratulations, Michael. Unbelievable football player, like Coach said. Probably the best defensive football player I've had the pleasure of coaching, but more so than that, just proud of what you've done from an academic standpoint to give yourself a chance further on. Next up, we got Coach Boyette with our senior academic awards.
Tonight, as we represent these academic award winners, I want to remind everyone it's a large testament to our guys and our program that, we want our guys to make good grades so they can go be successful citizens, have a chance to go to college as a student first, and hope they get to play athletics at the next level. But most people forget that all of our guys had to be digital, at some point, whether it was a quarantine or last spring they got shut down, had to finish the school year on a computer. Okay, something they've never done before, and we had a large number of academic award winners, 3.0 and higher. Our overall 12th grade GPA with a 4.0 was Jet Justice. Our academic award winners with a 3.0 or higher, Tyler Nipper, Logan Schubert, Javante Ham, Jacob Fine, Damian Gant, Romello Jenkins, Michael Mincy, Dexter Carradine, Raiden Kennedy, Zatwan Kitchen, Rodney Davis, O'Neal Combs, Jeremy Butler, Jerry Wilkins, Malcolm Craddock, and Jayla Melvin. Congratulations, these 12th grade academic award winners.
We've had two new coaching hires on our staff this year. One was Cole Minshew, straight out of Florida State in Coffee County. Got him with us this year, coaching defensive line. Did an incredible job. But our other new hires, Mr. David Pender, former Purdue Boilermaker, couple years in the league, but got him helping coach our secondary. And you want to talk about an unbelievable role model for our guys. And really, I've had the pleasure 100 years ago of coaching Coach Pender and won a state championship with him out on the grass. And Coach Pender has been a great asset for us here at Ware County, but now he'll present our 11th grade academic awards.
All right, for our 11th grade students receiving academic honors, overall, Mr. Henry Bates with a 4.0. He also had the highest GPA amongst all football players. Other athletes with a 3.0 or higher, Mr. Carter Barnes, also a 4.0. Zach Rowland, Landon Harding, Connor Brennan, Josiah Davis, Malik Mitchell, Tashawn Norton, Montarius Howard, Ramsey Connor, Jacob Miller, Jamar Watson, William Cecil, Thomas Castellanos, Cartavius Norton, Stephen Taylor, Dakari Coachman, and James Daniels.
Next up, we'll have Coach Dent presenting our 10th grade academic awards.
Just honored to recognize our 10th grade students that not only taking care of things on the field, but also taking care of things in the classroom. Our overall highest GPA for the 10th grade was Ben Bruner with a 4.0 GPA. And the following student athletes also receiving an academic award tonight maintained a 3.0 GPA or higher. And this list is Brody Hall, Landon Dean, Gabriel Johnson Lewis, Tanner Nipper, LJ Hall, Alex Justice, Bo Hampton, Cameron Gonzalez, Jamario Barkley, Trey Hargrove, Cavis Baker, Grayson Butler, Jaden Sanks, Jonathan Strickland, Bowden Braswell, Jarvis Hayes, Davidson Lawrenceston, Gavin Moore, Xander Moy, Brandon Washington, Zachary Watson, DeAnthony Moss, and Jalen St. Clair.
Next up, we'll take a look at our guys that were honored with postseason awards. First off, we'll start with our all-region guys. First up, we've got Thomas Castellanos, Region 1 5A Offensive Player of the Year. Mike Ellis, Region 1 5A All-Region Defensive Lineman. Michael Mincy, Region 1 5A All-Region Linebacker. Jeremy Butler, Region 1 5A All-Region Defensive Back. Brandon Mills, Region 1 5A All-Region Wide Receiver. Jerry Wilkins, Region 1 5A All-Region Wide Receiver. Tyler Nipper, Region 1 5A All-Region Offensive Lineman. And Henry Bates, Region 1 5A All-Region Punter. Once again, we're blessed to have couple of guys that were recognized as all-state athletes. First up, we got Thomas Castellanos. That was an AJC all-state selection. And we just gotten word as well that he was a GACA all-state selection. Henry Bates was an AJC all-state punter. And Michael Mincy just selected as a GACA Class 5A all-state linebacker. As we start getting to the end of this evening, one of the things we always like to do every year is recognize our four-year participants. A lot of things that go into being able to be a football player. It's hard, and it's a decision that these guys make every day that they're going to do it, and to maintain that commitment over a 4-year period. And really, probably we go down this list, these guys have probably maintained that commitment since they were about 6 years old. But this year's 4-year participants: Andrew Coate, Brandon Mills, Eli Cade, Jacob Font, Jalen Melvin, Raiden Kennedy, Rodney Davis, Romello Jenkins, TK Norton, Tyler Nipper, Xavier Huff, and finally, Zytuan Kitchen. A great group. Number one, it's a huge senior group, but the amount of those seniors that are 4-year participants says a lot about the character of that class and what they've meant to Ware County High School football and even beyond, because the large majority of those guys are multiple sport athletes. Appreciate you guys tremendously. Kind of lastly, before we close out, we've got an award that we call the Spirit of the Gators, and this is recognition to people that make our program just go. And these are students that contribute their time really for no recognition, with the exception of they love football, they love being around it, and what they contribute to us, not just on Friday nights, but every day, filming and taking care of so many things from a medical standpoint. It's just incredible that we've got this group of people that are willing to be a part of our football program. But first of all, we want to recognize Kemya Edie, Rio Thornton, Fatima Thomas, Michaela Folston, Cole Gibson, Logan Christensen. Spirit of the Gators. Those students do everything from, like I said, helping us film practice and games, to getting our hydration stuff set up, helping us get set up for pregame meals. It's helping pack and unpack the trailers. Just an unbelievable job. Thank you big time to those recipients of the Spirit of the Gators. Last, I'd just like to take a moment, and Coach Smith hit on it earlier, but you parents out there that made a conscious decision to allow your young men to come be around us as adults and be a part of our football program. Thank you. I know there was a lot of uncertainty with everything that took place this year, obviously with the coronavirus and the pandemic, and hey, what's safe and what's not safe. Number one, you trusted our medical staff, but more importantly to me, you trusted us as coaches that we were going to do everything we could to keep your kids safe, but also give them an opportunity to play the sport that they've grown up their whole lives playing and have fun doing it. And with that, we're talking about a group that made a quarterfinal run, came up just 3 points short in a 34-31 loss, to Cartersville. We wound up playing in the state championship. The only other loss this year was to the state champion, Warner Robins, combined 6 points right there. But You know, with so many changes, and it seemed like weekly we were waiting around on Wednesday or Thursday of what the information was going to be, of where we could practice and what time, where our summer stuff was going to be, all those sorts of things. And you parents hit it out of the park with helping us as coaches do our job and giving us an opportunity to coach your kid. And we thank you big time. It goes to show how important football is to this community and how important it is to be a Ware County Gator. From the bottom of my heart, and this coaching staff and this school system, thank you, parents, players, thank you. Hey, we'll have spring football right around the corner. It's going to be here in a hurry. I know a lot of you guys are participating in other activities, and man, we're excited about watching you do that. But football season will be here before we can blink, and it'll be Gator time again over Memorial Stadium, best place to play high school football in our state. Thank you again. Unbelievable community, unbelievable school system. You coaches, can't say thank you enough. Let's get ready to play some more football. Go Gators.